Okay, here's the thing. I am full to the brim with work. It's fantastic. And I can't stop thinking about 28 years later. I strongly encourage you to watch this movie. If you can stomach horror, if you can stomach tragedy, these two together are so needed. Oh, this movie is so needed right now. It's so beautiful. Oh my God. Okay. I am absolutely going to gush about it, but first I'm going to tell you why it matters to my comic process. So, what I'm learning is how and when and what it feels like for me to be in monotropic flow. So, I'm autistic and I have ADHD, which means that I've got these two fantastic modes that I can be in. One, the ADHD side, is called hyperfixation. So, when I get really into something, I am like all in. This is all I want to do or talk about. And then there's also monotropic flow in the autism tool set slash, palette of experiences. So monotropic flow is very much like hyperfixation, but without the urgency, I would say. Like hyperfixation, I feel a strong like pull to, drive at it. Whereas in monotropic flow, it's more like where I am right now and what I'm doing is the only thing that matters. Like it's a depth state for me of like everything I'm doing, even when I, get up and make a meal and, do some outdoor chores for the day or whatever it is, I can still be in that monotropic flow because my brain is hanging out with the information, with the ideas just constantly. And if that gets shifted or if a hyperfixation comes up and like derails it, I can't just like easily switch back into monotropic flow. Like it really, I've found that it is the state that I need to follow throughout my days if I want to be satisfied at the end of the day. But I can't choose it necessarily. I can only like set up the circumstances such that I can ease into monotropic flow and hopefully stay there for as long as possible. Why am I telling you all this? Oh my gosh, because I talk about making my comic all the time. That's what these videos are for. And making a comic that I'm going to have to make for, 5, 7, 10 years in order to finish it, I really need to understand how I work. I had a friend the other day text and say, I quit comics on Saturday and now I'm coming back to it, but I'm like trying to approach it in a different way because I think I was putting too much pressure on and now I'm taking pressure off. And I'm like, yeah, that's something that's really important information about you, is that if there's a lot of pressure around your work, you're going to want to quit. And then when you come back, you take the pressure off. How do you do that? Well, he's now trying different methods of like, okay, here's one thing I'm going to try for a while, see if that works. When that stops working, I might need to try something else, always keeping in mind the context of the information. I don't work well under pressure for my creative comics work. That's true for me too. That's very true for me too. I need more of the flow. Little bit of hyperfixation helps that, but I also need to be able to break the hyperfixation so that I can like take care of my body, like have food and go to sleep and all these things that when I'm in hyperfixation, I don't give a shit. Like when I'm in hyperfixation, I'll just stay up all night. Like I won't eat for hours and hours until it's like, whoa, emergency. But monotropic flow has more flexibility. That's why I choose it. That's why I try to set it up as much as possible. By which I mean really taking care of my basics. My basics being food, water, bathroom, sleep, and my emotional state. My emotional state is never going to come second. My emotional state is part of what needs to be not like good. Like I don't need to be in like a good mood to get into monotropic flow. But whatever I'm feeling needs to be welcome into that flow, because if I'm trying to stop the flow of negative emotions but allow a flow of positive emotions, I can't give all my attention to that flow because I'm giving some of it to like holding back. So a mantra for me for the past couple of years, especially when it comes to relationships with people I care about and my relationship to my comic, that's not a person, but it's a thing I really care about. The mantra I'm using is don't hold back. Don't hold anything back. Like say it, do it, express it. There is no wrong. There is just what's here and then finding out what the result is, finding out what comes next, finding out what's here a moment from now or 10 minutes from now or 2 days from now or a year from now. It's just here and now, living in this context. I'm getting too philosophical. The point is, 28 years later, turned on my hyperfixation and monotropic flow because it reminded me how impactful, how beautiful, how complex, deep, philosophical, and important emotional and philosophical horror is. I am not a horror fan like just give me all the slashes. I'm not a horror fan like propose to me a creepier monster. I mean, some monsters are very fucking cool. I will point out in particular, The Thing is an amazing monster, and so is the monster in The Ritual, which you may or may not have seen. I think it was from 2 or 3 years ago. That monster is fascinating. The movie's pretty good too, but the monster is, I think, the most interesting thing about it. The point is, I'm not there for the scares. I'm not there for the creeps. I'm not there to like see something, see a spectacle. I'm not there for the spectacle. I'm there for the story, which means how does this thing, whatever it is, whether it's a specific monster or just like a human behavior that's very scary, a world event, a virus, something like that, like all of the scares, all of the scaries, I'm here for them existing in context with consequences and to explore those consequences. And 28 years later takes the consequences idea and goes deep with it, because it's not just the consequences of like, oh, the humans who were in that movie feel a different way by the end. They go through some internal journey. Sure, they absolutely do. But also the consequences of years of living with a certain new reality and it flowing through like nature and community and culture. And admittedly, 28 years is very, very fast on the scale of like evolution. Like nothing would ever evolve as quickly as it does in the movie in real life. But then you're like, it's a horror movie. There's an exaggeration, there's a suspension. And honestly, who's to say? Like, given the nature of the virus that works this way in this movie, maybe some of the laws we know about nature are actually more flexible than we thought. Like it's enough of a suspended state to say, I know this is a horror movie. I know this is an alternate reality, to then go, okay, so let's just play out all of those consequences, but really far, not just for these people immediately, but like for the society, for the culture. And ooh, it's so amazing. So what I've learned from the surge that I'm experiencing, the massive surge of just like, yes, let's go, let's write more horror stories, is that for me to sustain the thing I'm working on, I actually need regular reminders, not constant. If they were constant, I would start tuning them out. It's another ADHD thing. But regular, like frequent recurrences, maybe on a cycle of weeks or a cycle of months, recurrences and re-inspirations, reinvigorations of the thing that I'm trying to do. Because seeing this movie just completely turned on my monotropic flow in a way that I'm like, oh, I'm alive again. I can make this comic again. I've been struggling, I've been slowing down, and now it's like, boom, let's go. Oh, so excited, so thrilled with it. And I think it's going to become a part of my comics plan to rewatch the horror movies that have brought me that feeling on a regular basis. Like I already watch The Haunting of Hill House once a year, if not more. I already watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy and even the Hobbit trilogy. I know some people don't like it. It's true, it's not as good, but it's still part of the lore for me, and like the richness of the lore in the Lord of the Rings through the movies, because I've read the books as well, but I don't feel it as much. Anyway, we don't have to get into that. I rewatch things. I'm a rewatcher. I'm a re-listener. If I like an album, I'll just like have it on repeat for 2-3 weeks longer. Because again, autistic and ADHD. But I don't hold it back. I don't hold those things back. If I want to obsess over something, I just do. And my life has gotten so much more free since I've accepted, don't hold back, just do it. Just do the thing that your impulse is telling you to do. And building that into my comics practice, I think, is part of what's going to make this sustainable. So there's another thing I want to add here for anyone who's still watching. I've been resisting advice that I've gotten from a couple different sources for a while now, which is to make a playlist. make a musical or just sound, it doesn't have to be music, but make a sound playlist that puts you into that flow, or that at least puts you into the mood, into the mindset, into the kind of aesthetic world of the thing that you're creating. Because even if the playlist isn't directly feeding the work, if it puts you into the state you want to be in when you're creating, then it will become part of the ritual and part of the cue for your mind and body to say, oh, we're doing this now. And then all your attention can start to shift. So I'm going to be building a playlist. I've already done it a couple times with a couple, just things that came up on a whim. For example, I have like a horror soundtrack playlist that actually I'm going to have to rebuild because I'm switching where I do all my music because Spotify is fucking evil. I've actually never been on Spotify, but even now, Tidal, the company that I had been using for the past few years, is owned by Block, and that's a whole big problem itself. So I'm looking for somewhere else, and I'm actually going as analog as I can, like trying to download the things I want so that they're just, with my devices on me at all times, because the internet can be, fickle. The point is, it's playlist time. So what should go on my playlist for this horror epic that is deeply informed by The Haunting of Hill House, The Thing, Midsummer, and now 28 years later, and 28 days later. 28 weeks was okay, but 28 days later and 28 years later, these are like, that's, yeah. There's so much more I could say, and I'm holding back on this just because of YouTube, but I'm not holding back on my love of this in my life, trust me. If you talk to me in the next few weeks, I will monologue at you about 28 years later. But what's your playlist going to be for the thing you're making? What playlist would be your entry point into the world of the story that you want to make?